Okay, my wonderful, outstanding friends, Roger once again talking today about the dragons that are all over the earth. And this is a place called the God culture. Well, I'm going to show you the dragons that are all over the earth in a second. But Hesiod was an ancient Greek poet. When they say poet, he was a writer. Thought to live between 750 650 BC. And he was actually contacted by the daughters of Zeus, which are called the Muses, and they told him to write the story of humanity, and he did. And it included Typhon. Now, Typhon was a monstrous serpentine giant, one of the deadliest creatures in Greek mythology, because Hera was mad at Zeus, which was her husband. Zeus was the ruler of everything. He was supposed to be the father of all men and gods. So he was the top guy. And Hera was his wife. And Zeus ended up creating Athena all by himself. He just thought her out of his forehead. And she came out of his forehead armored and ready to do battle. That's what they say. Now, this is crazy stuff. Typhon and his mate, Echidna, were the progenitors of many famous monsters. Now, Typhon attempted to overthrow Zeus. Here's where we're going to see what happened to Typhon. So Typhon decided to overthrow Zeus for the supremacy of the cosmos, like Satan against God. The two fought a cataclysmic battle, which Zeus finally won with the aid of his thunderbolts, slashing his throat. He defeated Typhon. Typhon was cast into Tartarus or buried under Mount Etna or thrown into the Sahara Ocean. This serpent stuff is everywhere. Alright, he was talking about dragons and all this business. Well, guess what? If I told you this was a dragon, ran all the way from here, all the way across North Africa, almost over to the Mediterranean, attacking a giant fish, which is right here, spitting out the dragon vomit or whatever they do. And I said that Atlantis was right over here, which is the eye of the Sahara, and the Sahara was an ocean, and it drained over the top of Atlantis and created the Cape Verde Islands. Would you believe me? Because that's what I'm telling you. We're geologists. Well, they better start listening to what reality is, because guess what? That's not the only dragon. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, just happens to be in North America, exactly where they talked about Amaruca. There he is right there. There's the dragon's head. Same big nose. Runs around here. There's a serpent body. Runs all the way up the East Coast. And it is feathered. You get up in here, you can see the feathers very clearly. Over here, you see it's very green. What do you see the difference in the change from here to there? The edge of the nose is completely covered with this webby looking river system. That's not natural. That is just not natural, that it covers. Look at this. It's all over the guy's nose.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Roger Spur of Mud Fossil University, and we're knee-deep in reality here again. Just as the last video that I put out, there was a lot of questions asking me about why I had been saying that mythology was real to the extent I had been saying about these dragons' teeth which were removed, and when they was dropped in the sand they turned into fully armoured soldiers ready for battle, and the Gorgon head of Medusa was turning creatures into stone. It's all true, ladies and gentlemen. I've put out videos on it before, but where we're going today is there's a wonderful woman out there, and she's called Tish. Is a Mud Fossil University member, Facebook member as well, and she is probably my greatest pupil to date because she has found a huge bundle of this stuff. In fact, her husband came on one day and said, look, there's this guy on YouTube and he's finding this stuff all over the place, and he says that if you go out in your back garden you could literally pull out an amazing specimen within 15 minutes. And sure enough, she did. She found 5 artifacts in one day. I mean, some of these things are just more spectacular than any anthropologist will find in their entire careers. And I will show you some of them, like this. It's called a naga. It's a naga head. And I personally have done the autopsy on this just from looking at 2 pictures. Now, some people out there are saying that this is some kind of fairground stage artifact, you know, that's been buried in mud or just been covered in mud. If you can't handle truth, people, then you just need to leave this channel. This is the back of the head. And yes, it looks like oxidization of metal or paint, but every time that you see red, it is indeed blood, people. And anyway, she decided to cut the head open, and what you're looking at those white lines, they are white as snow, as if somebody's taken a scalpel and carved some shapes into it. But that is indeed where the throat goes, where the tongue goes through the head, and you can see 2 holes where the artery and vein are. This is another specimen that she found within 15 minutes, and I know it looks like bed springs, and this idiot Wise Up channel, he's shown pictures of this, trying to expose me as some type of fraud, or I'm being taken for a ride from Tish. But we can all trust Tish, people, okay? She's a wonderful woman. This thing here, I've labelled them no-toes. Now, apart from what's already been pointed out on the screen, what's been labelled there, if you look directly in the centre where the arch is, you can see what appears to be a wing nut, and that is in fact what it is, people. So obviously these were very, very strange no-toe creatures of some kind. It's obviously not some lump of mush from some bonfire somewhere, you know, just a collection of household goods all just burnt down into a crisp, into a pile, and somebody like Tish is making a fool of someone like Roger. No, these were definitely creatures. I mean, just look at this next thing here. It looks like, you know, the bar, or one of the bars to a pram. You can even see the inner workings there. But no, this is, again, it's a no-toe. And I should go down in history for this, but academia just will not accept it. They won't accept anything I say, and I've got all the DNA tests, CAT scans, everything. Roger is friends with a woman, and he has made a couple of videos on this artifact, and he's saying that it's a foot. Well, I have a serious problem with what's down here, actually. You've got a top layer and then you've got a bottom layer. No foot actually does that, and it looks exactly the same as the wooden artifacts I've just been showing you. Yeah, right. How anybody can still listen to that freak is beyond me. You know, this is YouTube, for God's sake. People want fantasy, Narnia. They don't want serious research. Moron. Anyway, that's enough of the no-toes there. This is the giant's hand at about 50 foot that I pulled out of my own garden. I shaped it myself, look. On this next image, I've made a fingerprint end for you. You can see the vein and the artery where I stuck my screwdriver. Anyway, we're moving on to fake space now. This is Comet 67P, and you can clearly see what this looks like. NASA's done a great job on this one. This is the moon, Enceladus, and it is in fact a tendon ball. because everything that you see in space is actually flesh. Like the dragon that I point out there in Morocco, how this thing survived in a perfect vacuum and the burning of the atmosphere. I've got no idea, but we'll just pass on that one for now, because I want to get on to these sunspots. Because when I pointed out in that video that sunspots are in fact mountains, and I can judge that just from putting some sunglasses on, because I'm Roger Spur, and we all know that sunspots move around, so I don't know what these mountains are moving around, but the main thing is that I've always said that mountains are the remains of giants. So if we can see these mountains from Earth, and you know how big that they tell us that the sun is, then these giants must be enormous. And this thing must have gone hot at one point. But anyway, back onto my DNA analysis and expertise. Look, people like Lloyd Pye and the Child Skull, just because he spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on trying to DNA analysis shotgun ancient DNA. Ancient DNA is something that's not soft anymore, you know, it's ancient bone material, almost a fossil. The only reason why he was even able to get a fragment of DNA from this thing after much trial and error is because it had been inside a cave. He's recently made a video. You know how much this guy has taken the piss and banned anybody that mentions the flat earth. He's completely gone against it, and yet in this video here, anybody watching this video of mine, I want you to go and watch this video on Mud Fossil University's channel and listen to Roger say that the earth used to be flat and that over time it spun into a ball. Now, that's how much this guy knows about physics, anything scientific. I mean, how the hell can something spin at 1,000 miles an hour and turn into a ball? Anyway, the video I've put in the bottom right corner, you really need to check out. He's made it recently as Roger, and if you want to see just how crazy this guy really is, just listen to this video here and what he says about Atlantis, because he's always making the same videos over and over again. The dragon one, I mean, he makes a video on the dragon about twice a week and all the same artifacts. I mean, if I would have carried on like that with what I've been doing for the last 4 years, I would have expected everybody to unsubscribe from me. I just cannot believe it. But anyway, check that video out and what he says about what created Atlantis, when he talks about the 900-mile dragon and the fish, which is even bigger, that fought and died in an ancient sea that was in North Africa. And as that event happened, it destroyed Atlantis, which isn't Atlantis, it's just a mud bubble. But what he's getting at is that those creatures were alive while Atlantis was up and running. 900-mile dragons. Okay? And then you'll hear him get into pointing out cities and ruins and boat sleuths and stuff. Just watch it. you.